Many thanks for joining us on Galaxy today, the first for this week. My name is Justin Academy, and of course I'm not alone. We have the amiable and wonderful Uche around this morning. Yeah.
Okay, good morning and good morning, Justin. It's good to have you all here on Monday, and of course being the 26th of August, just a few days away from August. A warm welcome to you. Okay, so we'll just go straight to business. Today is going to be quite serious because we have to look at nation building. I mean, we have many months to the end of the year, and then that is like almost getting close to 1 year into the new regime that we had. All right, we have a guest in the studio, and of course we'll be looking at ministerial list, next level cabinet, as well as youth and nation building. But you know how to be part of this. All you just need to do is send your comments via SMS or ask your questions via SMS, and of course through our social media handles using hashtag Galaxy Today. Welcome.
Yes, welcome on board. Just 4 or 5 days ago, the president actually inaugurated his cabinet for the next level, and of course that has actually generated lots of reactions, and people are talking about it. We'll be looking at that. And just over the weekend, still talking about the youth and nation building, about 80 Nigerians were in the list released by the FBI US for international cybercrime and all of that. What does all of this portend for our country? We'll be looking at how the youth can actually build our nation, what we are seeing right now in the face of the international community. How do we begin to salvage our image and of course the integrity of Nigeria? Well, joining us this morning to look at all of these issues, we have a former member of the House of Representatives. He represented Ijebu-Ode, Odobolu, Ijebu Northeast Federal Constituency. Let's make welcome Honorable Odeneye. Kehinde is already laughing at me.
Good morning. Good morning. I thought by now you should be used to that name. Good morning. How are you?
We are very well. Welcome, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the presidential ministerial list.
Yeah.
I mean, they dropped last week, and for every gathering I walk by or pass by, you hear them say something. Some are for and some are against. Let's just hear your own opinion about this thing.
Personally, I think the list is okay.
Okay.
This is taking away emotions or any form of attachment. The list is okay because one, we have some ministers coming back.
Okay.
And if you look at those ones that have come back, they are actually in the key portfolios, in the key areas. You talk about information, you talk about aviation, you talk about justice, you talk about education, and you talk about finance. If you look at this, you talk about transport, you talk about works and housing. If you look at these ministries, they are the key areas of this government. And one will definitely have expected what happened by returning those ones that were saddled with these responsibilities in the last, in the last 4 years. And this is to give room for continuity.
Okay.
Because if you look at transport, for instance, there's so many projects ongoing. If you look at works and housing, there's so many projects ongoing. And even aviation too, we have so many issues that were outstanding in the last 4 years that we need to carry forward or bring forward to these last 4 years. So, by and large, they're very nice. Again, I think we have women also now.
Yeah, right now, speaking of women, we have about, of all of the list, we have about 16.3% made up of women, while the male got about 83.7%.
I wonder how you got your calculations, but But what is most important? What is most important is this. Yeah. What is most important is this. Regardless of the number of women that are involved, what is most important is that women are there.
Okay.
At least to also represent the women, the female gender, which is very good. And I believe that with time, we're going to improve upon this. Okay. If you look at the past, you can barely count the number of women that are there, whether it's 5% or thereabout. But gradually we are having, it's not as if we don't have so many women that are also doing very well there, out there, that can also contribute. But everybody cannot be in the ministerial list, you understand? And again, we are just looking at ministers. There are so many other women and men involved in the government of the day. Okay. You know, we have SAs, we have PAs, we have so many of them there. But are also women. So we shouldn't just be limiting ourselves to the number of women or 16% in this ministerial.
Okay, let us talk in specific terms now, because some appointments have generated some reactions from Nigerians. Let us talk about from Lagos State, the former governor, who one of his portfolios was taken away from that power. You know, a lot of Nigerians have said that it's a thing that maybe he did not really perform considerably well. That's why that particular portfolio was removed. Or is, in your opinion, is it for just sake of efficiency?
Yeah, I think it's not a matter of performance. Okay. It's not a matter of performance, because if you look at performance, really, you realize that the 3 ministries that were combined in one are major ministries. Ordinarily, if not for the vigil of cutting costs in 2015, which was also a very good idea at that particular point in time, looking at where we were at that particular point in time. Ordinarily, those ministries are not ministries that are supposed to be combined. Housing is very, very important to this administration. Power is very, very important, not just to this administration, but the whole country. And also works is the major ministry. So, but in 2015, the president, in his own wisdom, and because of what was on ground then, decided to merge this and give that ministry in 3 in 1 to former Governor Fashola. And to me, he has really performed. If you look at works, for instance, across the length and breadth of the country, there is no state where there are no one federal road or the other being constructed. You know, even those ones that were never conceived by various by the past administrations, those ones that were not even considered to be possible. Second Niger Bridge, for instance, has been something that a lot of past administrations were thinking about, but they've never, not even to dig ground. You know, so and in power too. It was in these last 4 years that we were able to generate as much as we had ever done before in the past years. So, but I think for now, the president, in his wisdom again, has probably seen it that that ministry 3 in 1 is probably more is becoming too big because of various issues that are going to be handled. In each of these ministries. And that is why he has taken one away. Power is something that is so important for the economic advancement of this country. If we have power, every other thing will follow.
Please, I'd like us to dwell a bit more in this, talking about efficiency. Yeah. Would you say, from the eye of the average man, they're satisfied with what the former governor, Raji Fashola did? Looking at power in particular now, it looks like business, they're not thriving. We see a lot of people relocating because of this. We've seen investors leaving because of power issue. Would you actually say, maybe not his person, but the Ministry of Power now, would you actually say there's been a difference since we've been having issues with power?
Yeah, let me put it this way. If you look at past years, you realize that power has been an issue that has bedeviled this nation. And why we were not able to find solutions to it is still an issue that begs for so many answers. Because it's not as if we do not understand or we could not identify the problems. The problems are there that everybody can see. The problems are there for everybody to identify. So the only problem is, why are we not finding solutions? And I said earlier that in the last 4 years, though it was not stable, but we were able to generate more than what we were generating before. It was not stable, and it is still not stable. The immediate past administration of Jonathan decided, in his own wisdom, to privatize, to unbundle the power business, the power sector. It was a very good and nice idea, But there are so many things that went with that policy. If those things had been tackled, if we had given a very good platform, if professionals in courts had been involved in that process of unbundling the power sector, and right from the beginning, we probably wouldn't have been where we are today. And when you talk about efficiency, Raji Fashola took over a process that was not his, took over a platform that had been laid and not well laid, took over a lot of issues in the power ministry. Do not forget also that still till now, we're still talking about $16 billion that was meant to have been put into power, that still begs for answers, even up until now. Because if that money had actually been spent the way it was meant to be spent, at the point we identify problems in the power sector, if that money had been put rightly into that power sector, I don't think we will be having an issue. We will just be building upon. And a lot of investors, even from outside, will have been here. How many investors from outside do we have in the power? And that was where I said, yes, we identified the problem that we needed to unbundle, but did we do it in the real right sense that we were supposed to do it?
Okay, let us talk about, still talking specific terms right now. Before we talk about the geographical arrangement, let's talk about some people who have returned, which have also, generated reactions. For instance, the former senator who represents Anambra, that's who was the Minister of Labor, is also returning for the same position. In your opinion, do you think Dr. Chris Ngige fared well in the last dispensation, and coming back, do you really think there'll be a change in the labor issues in Nigeria?
Yeah, looking at the labor ministry, I don't think there's ever been any labor minister in this country that has ever been involved in one negotiation or the other. And negotiation in this country has been an issue that will be going back and forth, because you're talking about two different sets of people. You have one, standing in for government. You have the other side of people, standing for their people and wanting to, have an agreement one way or the other. And if you look at everything that we've been talking about, aside the minimum wage, every other issues that has generated issues, let me put it that way, all issues that have generated issues, even in the last 4 years, are issues that were discussed, that have been negotiated, even before the coming of this administration. Take ASU, for instance. ASU's issues date back as far as 2002, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2009, even up to 2011. So not necessarily this administration of Buhari or APC. So there were issues that were taken over by this administration. So what could the minister have done? The only thing he could also do was to sit and mediate. Look at the government and look at the people. And in negotiations, you also have to look at what do I have in place. Because if you are negotiating and you are just making promises without looking at your economies, that will also be a problem. Meanwhile, the people that are coming requesting for something care less about the economy, care less about what excuses you are given. They take everything you say as excuses. They also want something for themselves and for their people. So, and at the end of the day, we must, everybody must come to the round table and meet at a middle point. So for me, Chris Ngige had not fared badly, and I am happy that he returned. Why? Because those issues that are still outstanding is not to be given to another person to start all over again, but he has to continue from where he stopped. And to me, he has gained so much experiences and he has so much exposures now. Even if he's a doctor, a medical doctor, he has been put in a labor relationship matter, and he has handled it in the last 4 years. He's now been given again to handle it again. And I want to believe that he has learned a lot there. The only funny thing The only funny thing in the labor ministry is that 2 old men are now being put. I want to believe that it's because of their wisdom.
Okay, all right.
The Minister of State is an old man. Chris Ngige is also an old man.
Just see how their wisdom, how far it will take us. All right, we still have Honorable Odeneye Kehinde with us here in the studio. So just to remind you that you can be a part of this conversation. Feel free to interact with us on social media using the hashtag Galaxy Today or via SMS. The numbers are on the screen. I will take this sound bite from a financial expert, sort of set an agenda for the finance ministry and what they should be focusing on. And when we come back, Honorable Odeneye will be talking to us about the geographical spread, his thoughts concerning it in a moment. Do join us again.
I think the first thing that we need to do differently, very differently, is to stop pursuing poverty alleviation and pursue wealth creation and growth. They're very different in terms of mindset. And I think that if you pursue growth, then what will happen is that you create prosperity and therefore, you kill poverty. So let's pursue growth. A lot of the policies of the government so far have not been aggressive enough in terms of trying to push an economy that is just fresh out of a recession into consistent, fast-paced growth. I think in terms of our monetary policy, government needs to take a second look at pursuing reduction of inflation, because I think that has been the thrust of the policy initiatives of the central bank, pushing consistently towards single-digit inflation. I think that rather than do that, the central bank needs to look at how, in fact, on the contrary, to provide liquidity, adequate liquidity into the banking system so that lending can happen, especially to the real sector. The task before him is the fact that our population is growing consistently at about 3% every year. And since 2015, our economy has, in fact, at one point been receding, but now has grown and is now around achieving growth of less than 3%. So the task must be for 2019, 2020, until the end of this tenure, we have to push a growth rate that is significantly higher. That's a GDP growth rate that is significantly higher than our population growth rate. Otherwise, poverty continues to win.
Welcome back. It is still Galaxy Today. Shugwito there talking about the economy and what the Ministry of Finance should be focusing on. Before the break, we talked about the Honorable reacting to the geopolitical zones. From the northeast, we have about 7, for northwest 9 thereabout, then for north central 7, north southeast 6, southwest 7, south 7 as well. Let us take the south right now. In that particular zone, we have governors, former governors, in that particular zone. We have Godsul Akpabio from Akwa Ibom State, Temipre Silva, Bayelsa State, Festus Kiyamo, Delta State, Godi Jedi Agba, Cross River State, Osage Nire from Edo State, returning again for health. Then Clement Ike, Edo State, Rotimi Amici, River State, who also returned. Okay, let us talk about this particular zone. Although over the years they've been having issues with militancy and restiveness now, but this particular people in that zone, do you really see a change coming to that particular zone?
Yeah, I think there will be some level of stability. One, Rotimi Amici, as I said earlier, was there in the last 4 years, and I think he did very brilliantly well in the Ministry of Transportation. Akpabio, a former governor, a former senator, now a minister, I believe she'll be able to bring his experiences to bear in this Ministry of Development of the Niger Delta region. If you look at when he was governor of Akwa Ibom State. I think he tried his best in terms of infrastructure development.
Okay.
I was in Akwa Ibom before his regime, and I was in Akwa Ibom during his regime, and I was able to see some infrastructure development in terms of roads and some other things. Even the government house he rebuilt, putting the old one beside, and you can see the old one, you can see the new one. Ibom Hotel is there, and some other ones. And this current governor there too is also trying his best. But you see, and Silva was also a former governor in Bayelsa State, yes. So we still expect him to bring his experiences to Obia again. If you look at the composition of the people there, apart from 2 or 3, there are probably professionals. The other ones are serious politicians that know the terrain of that region, and that have also had followers over time. So having followers, knowing the terrain means you should also have experiences of what the people of that region would need, and that should be given to them. So I think that I have no doubt that they should be able to perform. I use the word they should because that is my expectation. I expect them to be able to perform because they have been there for some time and they have been in some level of positions in that particular region. I expect them to be able to deliver. Okay,
but away from that, is there, well, maybe because I'm from a background where there's always penalty for not doing the right thing. I mean, it looks like we're fighting over and over what we should have combated. I mean, what we should have solved for years. Okay, in a situation where it looks like they don't, if these people fail to deliver, I mean, I don't know penalty. We've been having these people in this system for too long, and it looks like we're almost getting either something less or not getting anything at all.
Yeah, I quite agree with you that there's a need for some fresh blood. And if you look at that government, if you look at the list too, there are some fresh people that have been brought in that were never in government before. Kayamo was never in any government before. He has just been brought in now. And some 1 or 2 other people there too have just been brought in. The thing is this. I want to believe inside my inner mind that this president, Muhammadu Buhari, wants to leave a legacy. Now he has another opportunity of 4 years to be able to leave that. And to me, I want to believe again that whoever does not perform amongst the ministers, whoever will not help his ministry, that the ministry of doing well now by Buhari, whoever is not going to help his ministry, I want to believe that such a person will be hissed out. And he has given them a tall order. He has given them during the retreat that they had. He has also given them the KPIs that they are supposed to meet up with. And I think with that, for the first time they are doing that. I've never seen in the history of this country where KPIs are given to ministers. Now they have KPIs, they have a measuring statistics that they're supposed to meet up with. And so you don't even need to let anybody, you don't even need to tell anybody that I'm performing or I'm not performing. The KPIs are there for you to see whether you are meeting up with them or not. And when you do not meet up, it is so easy for anybody to show you your balance sheet, where you stand. And with that, the president should be able to take a decision for them.
A lot of people have still talked about this order of, reporting, because right now some people are saying that, do ministers really have to report to the chief of staff?
Yeah, I think the president has his prerogative to choose his line of authority. I wonder why. It is because we politicize everything. That's why everybody would want to cry foul at every pronouncement of the president. I see no reason. The president will have his reasons. Probably maybe he wants to concentrate on some other things. So if all the ministries, we are talking about 40-something, for instance, if all of them have to meet up, meet with the president, make requests at all times and all sort of things, what would the president be doing? We can't say because the president has ministers, he doesn't have any job. The vice president is there too for him to also perform his own duty. So the president has his reasons for asking the ministers to take some issues to the chief of staff. The chief of staff is a personal person of the president. The chief of staff is supposed to be the one that knows when the president sleeps and when the president wakes up. He's supposed to know the itineraries and itineraries of the president. He's supposed to know the workings of the president. He's supposed to know what and what is done and what is left to be done. Because the president, I expect that the president will sit down with him one-on-one to be able to look at his diary and his level and his activities. So if he now says, okay, fine, I don't want everybody to be coming to me. Meet with my chief of staff when you want to have meetings with me. It is because the chief of staff is the one that arranges his meetings. The chief of staff arranges his movement. If that's the way he has chosen to do it, so why do we need to crowd? It's just like you having, just like in your own household, the little house you have, your family, and you say, oh, I don't want all my children to be coming to me for everything. Discuss with your mother, or you. I want your mother to concentrate because she's busy. I also want to concentrate on some other things. We are looking for money to, the friend for the family. So your senior one now that is, a graduate, all of you, go to him, sit down with him, discuss with him. He will come and discuss your issues with me. I don't see anything wrong in that. What's the big deal in that?
So you think it's just gainsaying when reactions from various quarters, specifically the Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, saying that some or most juicy appointment went to the Northwest. Does it really hold water in your opinion?
I wonder what we call juicy appointments and all sort of things. Is that okay? Every ministry, every position is not juicy by the name of that position, but by the person occupying and making that position juicy. You understand? So if you put anybody in Ministry of Transport, for instance, and he does not have idea, Ministry of Transport is a very big ministry. Ministry of Works is a very big ministry. Even sports is a very big ministry. So if you now put someone that does not have the prerequisite knowledge to be able to make that ministry a ministry that will be a point of reference for people, no matter how big the ministry is, it will be useless. Even Ministry of Women Affairs, you know the number of women we have in this country. Ministry of Women Affairs, as it's being called, is also a very juicy ministry. But it depends on the courage, it depends on the programs, it depends on the policy, it depends on the line of activities that whoever is there. It's just like when you're talking about the National Assembly, that you say one ministry is juicy and one committee is juicy than the other. When Committee on Diaspora was created, there was never anything like diaspora in this country. But look at Abike Dabiri now. Because of her activities in the House of Representatives as the chairman of Committee on Diaspora, now the government has seen reasons why we should create an agency for diaspora.
Okay, so there's no issue if the ministers of Interior and Defense are from a particular zone.
The Minister for Interior is from Southwest.
Okay.
Defense is from North. So what's the big deal?
Okay, but let's look at this right now. So if you are going to set agenda, for this particular ministers, what would be the critical factors and the critical places they should start on? What ministries do you think really have a whole lot to work on right now?
For now, all the ministries have a lot of things to do because all of them must deliver a dividend of democracy that we have promised the people. To Nigerians, one common objective, one common goal that everybody must set to achieve is moving Nigeria forward. In terms of everything, all these ministries will contribute to the betterment of Nigerians as a whole. All of them will contribute to the advancement of this country, and all of them will contribute to the development of the country as a whole, and even the economy. So there's no ministry there. There's no goal that all of them must be well focused on developing Nigeria and Nigerians as a whole. The Ministry of Youth and Sports has a lot to do in his hands because we have so many youths there, and our sport that used to be the image making area for this country has died. The former minister that was there did not achieve anything, did not do anything at all to develop sport in this country. So this is one area, very critical area, that the Minister for Sport, and thank God, the person that is put there is also a young man. So we'll expect, he has seen a lot, he has passed through a lot for him to get to where he is, Sunday Direct. So, and he has gathered a lot of experiences, working with so many people, especially Ashiwaju. So I expect that it should know what I want to bring to the table now, to move that ministry forward, to make sports, not just football, but the entirety of sports, to redeem our image, put us where we used to be before, and also create an avenue for youth development. We must have youth development. Our youth must be engaged. They must be engaged. We have so many youths in this country that will perform miracles. We have so many youths in this country that will perform wonders. We have so many youths in this country that are very good. They are going to other countries and they are performing. There's no countries of this world that you go to that you don't have one person from Nigeria, especially youth, that is doing one thing or the other, that is inventing one thing or the other. And we have so many of them, even within this country, that have done so much, and they are still doing so much, that are inventing one thing or the other that the government is supposed to put eyes into. So I expect that the Ministry of Youth and Sport has a lot to do, especially taking our youth away from the streets, empowering our youth, having a policy for youth development, doing a lot for the youth to be able to develop our youth and be able to make our youth independent. You see, not all the youths can have appointments. Not all the youths can be employed by government. But the youth we have in this country are youth that should be focused driving.
Okay, we'll talk more on the youth when we'll take a break for the second segment and see how we can actually build them for the nation. But just before we round off this particular session, I want you to maybe a word of advice for the Ministry of Finance, because from what we hear, the nation might slide into recession yet again. So what would you think we should be doing in the interim?
Yeah, what the Ministry of Finance needs to do is this. It's so simple. One, when she came in the first instance, she came in the middle of the administration in the last 4 years. Now she has an opportunity to prove herself. To prove her what? To bring her expertise into bear. And there are so many people out there that are economists that we need to bring on board. Rewane is there, very good sharp. So many other people are there. So we need to form, she needs to form an economic team for our ministry. In an advisory capacity. The economy of Nigeria needs, very good thinking. The CBN is trying to do a lot, and it has been, the CBN has been doing a lot for the development of this country, even for our economy. So the Minister for Finance, we can't afford to go back into any recession again.
Exactly.
We can't afford to.
Okay.
We must itemize our priorities. What we need to do, what we need to do, and when we need to do them. They're very, very important, because the Ministry of Finance is a very, very vital ministry that has a vital role to play. So the minister needs to be up and doing.
All right.
She needs to be on her feet at all times. She needs to read ahead. She needs to read ahead of all other ministers. She needs to know where we are, where we are going, where we are supposed to be. And she must also interact. She can't do it all alone. She must interact.
All right. A word of advice for Zainab Ahmed there. Okay. One of our viewers sent this one in. He says, I think we should greatly look into the issue of roads. Currently, a movement from one state to another is becoming more and more difficult. Do you agree, Honorable?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay.
Roads, there are two major things that will move our economy forward. And that is power and roads.
Okay.
And you see, the roads, even when there is power, whatever is produced needs to be transported. So, and now we are trying very well in terms of rail to ease the pressure on the roads. But even the roads too, especially the connecting roads from one state to the other, are very, very important that we need to really focus on. So I also want to use this opportunity to beg Governor Raji Fashola. I respect him so much, because I've been in a forum when I was in National Assembly in the House of Reps. He had come, and he has every road, every federal road are on his palms like this. He will draw a graph and tell you which road is this, which road is this, which state is this, and all sorts of things. But he needs to also sit down now and look at those very critical ones. Very, very critical. Not just building roads, but we need to build the critical ones. Look at Lagos-Ibadan Express Road, for instance, now. We need to quickly finish on that road.
Yeah.
And that's a very critical road, not just limiting it to Ibadan. We need to also take it from Ibadan to Ilorin.
Okay.
Ilorin down to other places, Niger and Co. So, and these are roads that when they are built, you know, we should not just build them, but we should also build roads that will last long.
Last long in roads.
Not so that we don't continue to repair and waste resources on road repairs. So I agree with that person. The government needs to also look very deep into construction of roads.
All right, we'll take a breather right now. We still have Honorable Odeneye Kehinde with us here in the studios. We'll be coming back after this break to focus on the youth and nation building. I also want to hear the Honorable's perspective concerning 80 Nigerians that were listed on the FBI list for fraud and cyber crimes in a moment when we return to join us again. All right, welcome back. It is Galaxy today as we now focus on the youth and nation building. Although before we get into all the issues, all the details, let's talk about what happened over the weekend. Was the surprise list. I don't know if it was a surprise to you, but it came really as a shock to me when I heard that 18 Nigerians were in that list of the FBI. You know. So what was the first thing that came to your mind, really, as a Nigerian?
Sincerely, it was really shocking. And I think the FBI needs to give us the whole list of the people that were either arrested or that have been accosted or people that have been investigated, because they can't tell me that these are just the only people that they have investigated. Is it to show that Nigerians are fraudulent? Because if you look at the whole list, they're just Nigerians. So are we saying there are no several other people, either in any other country or even within America there, that are fraudulent? But
or could it be that we have people impersonating Nigeria? I mean, claiming to be Nigerians.
Not impossible. So it is a bit shocking. And if you look at the whole set of people whose names were released and whose pictures were given, all of them are youth. At least majority of them, if not all of them, majority of them are youth. So, and that's exactly the part that saddens my heart.
Okay.
And that is why I was passionately talking to the Minister of Youth and Sport, that he has a lot to offer, especially to the youth. We need to change the focus of our youth, because you realize that some of these people, especially the youth, when they travel, a lot of them don't think of traveling to go and do anything better for themselves. They just want to have ways of making money at all cost. And that is it. So, but is it because they are not well protected here? Is it because they are not well taken care of here? Is it because they do not see future in Nigeria? Is it because they are not even recognized? I would say yes. Because ordinarily, no one will want to put his or her life in danger because he wants to live life. And if that be the case, but when there is no hope, when nobody sees tomorrow in today, and it's not a matter of, it's not because I want to encourage them, but I'm just giving this as a kind of caution and warning to the government that we can't afford to leave our youth to depend on themselves. We can't afford not to take care of them. We have to take care of them. During the days of Awolowo, even Zik, even the president, the current president, Muhammadu Buhari, became a minister, I think in his 30s, 34. Yeah. So I see no reason why we can't afford to take care of our youth now. Awolowo became a minister, or became a minister then too, in the region of 30s. There was somebody that was 27. Was he an hour that was 27? So that means that if they could do it then, there's no reason why our youth of today
I like to butt in
will
there,
not do better.
please. I like the fact that you said you're talking to the Minister of Sports and the youth and sport to do something, but I also think, I think we also have to look at the education system. I understand our art is really doing well, but it looks like sciences is nose driving. Do you not think education has a role to play in this?
I agree with you. The education sector also has a lot of roles to play. Unfortunately, in this country, we have had very beautiful ideas, so many beautiful ideas about education policies. So unfortunate that no single policy here in this country has ever succeeded. No single policy. When the 6334 was introduced, it was targeted at developing, our youth, our students in vocational and technological trainings. Unfortunately, the idea just came and the idea just died. That's the way I would put it. It came and it died. And nobody is talking about them again. And, it's unfortunate again that the government spends so much to acquire equipment into so many secondary schools. And if you go there now, nobody is practicing any 6334. It's just by mouth. But thank God you brought up that. If you look at the various countries that have advanced in this world, a lot of people talk about Japan, you talk about China, you talk about all of them. All of them have policies, and they pursue those policies. Why do people go to India for medicals? Even Americans also go there. So many other countries, so many other people from so many other countries go there. It is because they set their priorities right. They develop their medical areas and policies so well that it has now become a kind of hub for people to come into, and that has also helped them in their economy. So if it is science that we want to concentrate at, look at Japan, for instance. Any set of electronics and all sorts of things Japan
Technology,
do.
yeah.
And they have various schools of technologies. We have schools of technology in this country, but what do schools of technologies do in this country? Even University of Technology, they do businesses. They do. They even go. Some of them even do nursing.
But
some of them
do you not think that before we start looking at universities, do you not think that the problem is actually from cradle?
I agree with you. We have to go back to the basics. We have to go back to the basics. One, we used to have teacher training colleges. Somebody came and scrapped them. We used to have technical schools. I wonder if there's any technical
vocational schools.
We have technical and vocational schools.
Yes.
I wonder if there's anywhere in this country where we still have that. Instead of our governors to concentrate and empower and create, recreate or reestablish vocational schools, they are doing one empowerment thing or the other. Taking people, training them outside vocational schools. You understand? So, Governor Okuwa, for instance, is doing well, but to me, he should go and create a very big vocational school, training school, where you have professionals, technicians, that will be training them not just for a few months, because what they do now is train them for 3, 4, 5 months and give them working tools. Some are given, some are not given. But let us go back to those bases, where we are coming from. Let us identify those areas, because it's not everybody that can go to school to, See, if we have technical schools, technical and vocational schools, they can advance. If anybody finishes from that school, you look at his level of exposure and education, he will have been exposed to so much practicals. That person can graduate from there and go to University of Technology to go and read more and acquire more knowledge.
But is it just about reading and acquiring more knowledge? Because a school of thought would say that the average Nigerian youth does not really believe that he still has a future in this country.
Yes.
But there's a way we create future. There's a way we create future. If you provide an avenue, you provide a platform for me to see future in tomorrow. Definitely, what else do I want?
Because growing up in the days, or let's say when we left school.
Our youth should be made to be able to create wealth for themselves.
Okay, for instance, when we were leaving school, you leave school and you see your mates getting jobs with maybe oil companies or multinationals, and it feels like, oh, you're doing well for yourself. But these days, it's no longer about getting a good job or working at a good place. It's about trying to build a future. So they rather relocate where they know that a future is assured than Nigeria. So everything still boils down to, yes, I can understand we have to prepare them, but what's in the essence of preparing youth and that there are no facilities to help them practice? Like
that's exactly what I was talking about. That's exactly what I was talking about. See, even the future we are talking about, do they actually have future in the foreign countries they are going to? No. Because a black man will continue to be a black man, while a white man continue to be a white man.
Well, some will rather be that.
Some in the past,
okay.
Yes, some in the past. Look at those ones that have been able to excel. How many new ones are excelling in those foreign countries? Because those foreign countries too have realized that giving opportunities to the black ones is taking a lot of advantages over their own youth there. So, but I believe that if the government here provides a very good enabling environment, not just developing them, also making them to develop themselves and also build a future. You see, it has come to the level that they have to provide an avenue for the youth to build a future for themselves. I
agree, they can build a future, but what's the essence of building a future if you do not have a facility or the necessary facilities?
Building the future is not by them, but by government.
Okay.
And building the future by government means providing every available opportunities. You know, you do not just train, and that's why during my time in the National Assembly, I did not believe in just training people. I will train, I will equip. You understand? See, by the time, even when initially I do not want to take it serious as a youth, if I do not want to take it serious and believing that, oh, what they have given to me, I can sell or I can gain money from it, I can do anything. By the time you see Ushe, that we have been given the same thing, excelling in our own field, Justin is excelling in his own field, I will have no option to also want to do what we build my future for me. So the government needs to do a lot, train the youth, provide all necessary things that will make them develop themselves and make wealth for themselves. Do not forget that if they are able to, if the teeming youths in this country are able to develop themselves and make they are able to make life easy for themselves, you'll find out that it will, one way or the other, better the economies of Nigeria.
Okay, let us take reactions. A lot of people are reacting, but they're actually reacting to the first topic that we discussed. But let's take them anyway. This one says, please, when you write, just endeavor to tell us your name and where you're writing from. Good morning, sir. We have been talking about experience. Okay, don't call, just send SMSs, okay? We have been talking about experiences so far in this country, but must they be former governors and senators? What about other people with experience? Must they be in politics before you talk about them having experience? You'd respond to that, but let me take this one again. Good morning. I don't think we need ministers for now, but that of security. I pray that what goes around in the country now does not come around. Let's talk about those two things that viewers have mentioned about experience. Are we saying in this country that for experience's sake, it's just about how, if you've been in governance or if you've been in decision-making levels in Nigeria, that's where your experience will be brought to bear? What about people who have excelled maybe in their own sectors? Do we really take advantage of that?
Yeah, to some extent, you could be right to say that maybe we haven't taken advantage of all, but I want to believe that some have actually been able to contribute to this government one way or the other, or to the economy of Nigeria.
Okay.
I mentioned Rwanda the other time.
Yes, you did.
It has been one way or the other been useful to some economic policies and all sort of things, and I think that he's such a person that will be ever ready to also want to contribute. There are so many other people like that too, that have so much experiences that the government, we may not necessarily hear about all of them. The government may not necessarily announce all of them. There was a time in this country that the government created an economic team that are made up of people outside the government, people outside politics. And one way or the other, they have been given, they are in advisory position and they have been given those advices. So for the mere fact that their names are not mentioned, for the mere fact that they were not announced, and also does not mean that there's some people that are there that have not been used or useful to this government. But I want to believe that there are still a lot in this country, both youth and old, that have so much experiences, that have achieved so much things that can still be useful to the government. But we must also bear in mind that all of us cannot be in government.
Okay, exactly. I agree with this concerning developing technical schools in Nigeria, because I have a son that is technically inclined. Okay, industrialization has become an area of great concern. Most school projects are abandoned after they are achieved, therefore no encouragement after school. I think we should look into what we have and harness them better. A lot of abstracts in our schools, and youth should be given offices in government too.
Yeah, a lot of them, but not necessarily all of them, because all of them cannot have offices in government. But I think what the government just needs to do, as I said earlier, is to create an enabling environment for them, carry the youth along, have so many youth programs that will better the loss of the youth. And it's going to contribute a lot to the economy. Okay,
Tunde Akonde from Ede in Osun State sent this one, and I just want to see if you agree with him. He says the permanent secretaries run the ministries, they guide the, in quote, listening ministers who are transient political appointees. It is not the fault of the ministers who know not much about their offices, but their professionalism would be an added advantage if we look inwards.
Yeah, I agree. The permanent secretaries are people that have been there in the ministries. They know a lot about the ministries and that sort of things. But as a minister too, they need to bring their experiences to bear. Okay. They need to understand. You don't need to be in a place for ages before you can work in that place. All you need to do is sit down, have a program. You see, one of the major problems we have with our political office holders is that they don't have programs. And that is why we have this idea of fire brigade approach to all the things we do. You must have a program. If you are given an office as Minister for Transport, for instance, you must have an agenda you want to achieve with the government. You sit down with your president. What is your agenda? This is my feelings, and this is the way we can go achieving that. So it's not just the permanent secretaries. The permanent secretaries are there, no doubt about that. But the minister that is coming into that position must also have a program, must also have an agenda, must also have a focus that you want to achieve, must have a goal that, yes, this is what I want to achieve during these 4 years in this particular ministry. And if you set that goal, which is what the training that they had actually gave out. So you find out that now we have skills with which we can now judge each minister. By the time we come next 4 years, it will be easy for us to say that yes, transport ministry or minister was able to achieve this that the government set for them, for it as an agenda, and it has been achieved. We will be able to score him high or low. You understand? So let's continue to watch and continue to pray as well.
All right, we'll keep on watching and keep on praying that our nation always keep on rising, and of course, and our youths, understand what it is nation building is about, and of course, they will work towards making our country greater and greater. Again, our guest in Lagos here has been Honorable Odeneye Kehinde, former member House of Representatives, and he's been talking with us concerning the ministerial list of the next level cabinet, and of course youths and nation building.
Thank you so much, Honorable Odeneye Kehinde. We do appreciate you coming.
Thank you very much.
And of course, to those of you who are out there that sat back to enjoy the show, thank you so much. We do promise to be back here tomorrow again at 10 a.m. Make it a date with us. I'm still a very humble home girl, Uche Onyekobuji. Bye for now.
And I'm Justin Akadonye. Many thanks for being a part of the show. We'll return again bright and early 10 a.m. tomorrow. Bye for now.